guys, JuV Day 15, and I wanted to talk a little bit about superheroes and religion. I don't have a proper script for this, but I have a couple of thoughts, so prepare for this to be a completely incoherent mess in some ways, or at least possibly. So I was thinking about one of the most recent X-Men books that's been coming out. Literally only just 2 issues of it out at the moment, and it's called Way of X. And basically, in it, Nightcrawler is trying to set up a mutant religion. Now, this is a weird one. It's very, very weird because, well, Nightcrawler is one of the most prominent characters in all of superhero comics to have faith, to have an actual religious faith. He is very prominently Catholic. It's a whole thing. He literally went and did training to be a priest at one point, and then that turned out to be fake, but he was still like a priest, and they did all sorts of other stuff with him. They had him read Alien Bible at one point, because he's the character that would have been most makes sense to do that. It was a thing. So now they're deciding that he's going to at least try and do something with making a mutant religion. The book has been doing this in an interesting way. He's still keeping his own faith. He's setting up a sort of spirituality center or something. It sure seems that way, at least. Because obviously there's all of this nation building that's going on in the X-Men books at the moment. There's all of this stuff. Hickman's doing some interesting stuff there. It's been going on for a while, but like they had an issue where Nightcrawler literally went, I need to make a mutant religion. What the fuck? And then they've got this Way of X stuff going on, and he's like, I'm gonna give up on that idea, except I'm going to keep it going, and it's really flipping and flopping between the two, and it's interesting, and I do not quite know where they're going with it. I think that, in effect, they're just trying to sort of divorce spirituality from mutants or whatever they're doing from the actual religious stuff in there. So, like, spirituality and religion are 2 separate things, technically. Or spirituality and faith, maybe, would be the better way of phrasing it. And they're trying to sort of move the spirituality side away from the faith side. And, it's an interesting idea, because there are so many different characters that have faith in some form or other. The most notable one is Nightcrawler, but like other characters that are particularly well known for it include Daredevil, who is also a sort of Catholic, I think, if I recall correctly, and Shadowcat and Ben Grimm have both been noted as being of Jewish descent in some form or other. I think both of them are practicing? I can't remember. These are just the most notable ones, really, but like, if you look at it, it's really weird to sort of be like calling it a mutant religion when that's what you're doing, is setting up a spirituality system rather than a faith system. Or maybe you are going to create a faith system, but like, I feel like they need to sort of redefine that in the writing, and I think that it's an interesting one, because I can't decide. I really can't decide. Religion in superhero universes is always sort of mentioned, but it's in some ways it's never fully gone into in a way that really is satisfying for a person of faith, because I am a person of faith. Like, it's a whole thing that, like, well, it's kind of frustrating, because on the one hand it's really good to see people do good for the sake of doing good. That's just great. There's some people who've had that instilled in them as a moral from their like religious upbringing, and that is great. But like, there's always a level of depth that sometimes feels lacking in a lot of these stories. And you know, the X-Men are a weird one because so often they have been used as an allegory for basically any marginalized group. There's like, you know, people from the LGBTQ community that they have been particularly noteworthy as being like an allegory for. Like, it's the fact is that the X-Men have a complicated relationship in the first place, because in the, like, you know, Nightcrawler is a Catholic, and if you look at some of the enemies that they faced, there is a Christian sect called the Purifiers, or the I can't remember what the other names for them are, but they are ultra Christian right-wing people that are like, mutants are sin, and thus they decide that mutants are you know, a horrible thing to be wiped off the face of the planet, in the way that many bad Christians do and about LGBTQ people. And it's a bit of a heavy-handed allegory at times, but like, it's not wrong. There's a lot of horrible people out there that use religion to justify their aims, and it's just bad. But like, the whole thing just kind of, fiction does religions weird sometimes. The best writer of religions, I think, is Brandon Sanderson. And I'm getting on my soapbox because Sanderson's one of my favourite authors. He does religion really well. There's some really good stuff in his books about the complex interplay of different religions and how religions get made, and religion, there's all sorts. So like, there's the stuff in Mistborn where literally over the course of the first book, a character forms their religion based around themselves right as the time that they are gonna die. Like, that's a whole thing. And then in Elantris, 3 different religions are being like maneuvered around between each other, and there's one of them's a political power, and the other one's like a political power but like more devolved from the church, and there's another one, and there's all sorts between all of his books, and they do really, really well talk about the way that faith can do things. And Sanderson himself is like, he's part of the Church of Latter-day Saints, I believe, or more, he's Mormon, I believe, but it doesn't seem to be like, I don't know. It's really interesting to see how that goes on, but it's, especially in the comics of the Marvel Universe in particular, it's difficult to sort of work out how, like, the real life faiths interact with the fact that there are literally canonically Norse and Greek and Egyptian and all of the different gods going around, and I feel like they need to sort of play around with that a bit more. One of my favourite issues of Jason Aaron's Thor run involved Thor hanging around with helping out some nuns for a bit, and it was just great because like, one of them's like, oh, do you understand? Oh, one of them was a little thirsty and was very keen on Thor, but like, he was just, you know, it's like, I want to see the comic where they talk about like Thor having a conversation with Nightcrawler about faith. It would be great, because there could be some really interesting stories about it, but they just don't do it very well. And thus, Way of X is going to be the closest that this has come, I feel like, while still also sticking pretty close to its traditional superhero roots, because there's a bad guy that's weaponizing the lack of faith on the mutant island. Anyway, I want to know your thoughts, so tell me in the comments down below what you think about all of this. I'd love to know, so tell me down there. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you remember to like and share it and subscribe to my channel. Click on the thumbnails over there to see other videos by me, click on the link in the description to join my Discord, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the next day of JuV. Bye!